Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of Scouting 5, recapping scouting news from around the world for the week of September 15th, 2025. I'm Scouter Ken, and I am once again recording from St. Albert, Alberta. The first link in the show notes this week is to an article posted by Big Man in the Woods. He's a UK-based scouter, does a lot of vlogging on the topic of scouting. We've talked in the past. I think I was on one of his vlogs at one point, but my memory is a little bit fuzzy in that regard. But he posted something marking reflecting on the murder of American political activist Charlie Kirk, who I didn't realize was an Eagle Scout. Whatever you thought of Charlie Kirk, I think that a lot of what Big Man in the Woods says in his article should resonate. Quote, "As Scout leaders, we spend our days shaping young minds to be brave, courteous, and kind. We teach them to speak up, to listen well, and to navigate disagreement with respect. Charlie Kirk did all of those things, albeit in ways that sparked fierce debate. He was bold, he was unapologetic, and he was, above all, a leader. Kirk once said, 'It is the responsibility of the individual to protect their own freedom and secure their own happiness.' That kind of personal conviction resonates with the Scout Law, where we teach young people to be self-reliant, trustworthy, and brave in the face of challenge." End quote. The Scout Law has many different permutations around the world. The Canadian one is a little bit different than the American one, which again is a bit different from the British one, the Irish one, the Australian one. But a lot of these different iterations basically go through lists of what a Scout is or should be. We talk about courteousness, we talk about cleanliness, talk about reverence, thriftiness, consideration, being wise in the use of resources. We can debate the degree to which Charlie Kirk was an exemplar of all of these things, but as someone who's digested a lot of his material, I've watched many of his videos, one thing that I was always struck by was the degree to which he was courteous in debates. Even when he disagreed with somebody, even vehemently, if someone was willing to be open with him, he would thank them. He would guard them in a way. He would not allow his supporters in the crowd to heckle people or to grumble at them. And if stuff like that started to happen, he would shut it down because he valued letting the other person speak. His whole thing was encouraging and fostering debate. And when people were willing to summon the courage to come up and debate him, he was a fierce champion of that, and he would protect them in that. And even to the point of sometimes stopping things to give somebody a chocolate bar or make sure that, somebody was taken care of if they were obviously struggling physically. So important was, the fact that people could be open and engaging in discourse to him, that, he would absolutely be courteous and he would celebrate people. Even when he disagreed with their ideas or the position they were arguing, he would celebrate the people themselves. And there's something in that. And I think that as Scout leaders, we can do a lot to remind our Scouts and to encourage our Scouts to really remember the humanity in the other person and to celebrate the humanity of the other person. Even if we absolutely disagree with what they're saying, even if we absolutely disagree with the ideas that they hold and the opinions they hold too, we can still see the other person, and we should still see the other person, and we should always be open to dialogue with that other person and to find points of agreement with that other person, points of commonality with that other person. I mean, within scouting, we all have scouting as a point of commonality. That's kind of an easy example to point to. Quoting Big Man in the Woods again, "Here's my challenge to my fellow Scout leaders. Let's use this moment not to retreat from difficult conversations, but to guide them. Let's help our young people understand that leadership isn't about being liked. It's about being principled. And when tragedy strikes, let's model the kind of reflection and empathy that builds stronger communities." End quote. And I echo that challenge unreservedly and wholeheartedly. Moving on to happier news. The 10th Africa Scout Youth Forum kicked off in Madagascar just this week with a call for peace and youth leadership, quoting scout.org. The 10th Africa Scout Youth Forum opened on a high note in Antananarivo, Madagascar, on the 14th of September, 2025, gathering more than 60 young people from 31 countries across the continent. Guided by the theme Living Together for Peace, the forum takes place at a time when many African communities continue to grapple with conflict, insecurity, and forced displacement, challenges that disproportionately affect young people. The opening ceremony captured the spirit of the forum, vibrant, youthful, and forward-looking. Addressing the delegates during the opening ceremony, the chair of the Youth Forum underscored the importance of youth leadership in shaping both scouting and society, while the regional director of the World Organization of the Scout Movement for Africa officially opened the event. In his address, the regional director affirmed the World Scout Bureau's strategy of empowering young people, urging delegates to engage in bold, solution-driven conversations and to stand as voices of reason and hope across the continent. End quote. And one outcome from the forum has been the election of 6 youth advisors to the Africa Scout Committee. There'll be a separate article linked in the show notes if you want to read a little bit more about them. And earlier this month, there was a large gathering of Scouts in Poland. And I am not going to attempt the name of the event. You can read it in the article that will be linked in the show notes. But Polish pronunciations are one of those ones that I struggle with maximally, which is weird given my Slavic heritage, but there it is. Quoting Scout.org. From the 20th to 24th of August, 2025, more than 800 Scouts aged 15 to 21, rovers, from across Poland and abroad, gathered for the annual Rover Encounter organized by Polish Scouting and Guiding Association. This year's edition, held under the name In the Center of Change, welcomed international patrols from Ukraine, Hungary, Lithuania, and Malta, making the event a vibrant meeting point of cultures, ideas, and experiences. At the heart of the gathering lies a deeply symbolic tradition, the lighting of the fire. Since 1999, the opening ceremony has seen the fire lit using wood from the flame of the previous edition of the event, a symbol of continuity and unity for the Rover community. Throughout the event, rovers took turns guarding the fire, emphasizing its significance as a representation of body, mind, and spirit. Public figures from the region joined the ceremony this year, highlighting the event's importance to the wider community. Over the course of the encounter, participants took part in hundreds of workshops that ranged from hands-on crafts, such as knitting and bracelet making, to activities focused on well-being, like yoga, and sessions exploring different firelighting methods. Other workshops reflected the global vision of Scouting, with themes covering sustainable development, peace, first aid, and cultural traditions. End quote. Sounds like a darn fun time. Meanwhile, over in Egypt, the country has evidently announced a new youth strategy, which is involving their Scout organization. Quoting Scout.org yet again. To mark the celebration of International Youth Day, the government of Egypt, on the 12th of August, 2025, launched the National Youth and Sports Strategy, with the Scout movement present as a principal partner in shaping the country's vision for its young people. Building on the momentum of hosting last year's successful 43rd World Scout Conference in Cairo, the state reinforced its recognition of Scouting as a key driver of non-formal education and youth empowerment. This renewed partnership includes an ambitious target to expand the Egyptian Scout movement to 4 million members, ensuring that more young people gain access to transformative, skills-based learning opportunities. End quote. 4 million people. Man, that would be crazy to have that kind of youth membership in Canada. And a little bit of news from the Girl Scouts. Haven't touched base with them too much, but apparently, at least in Missouri, they will be offering a new cookie for their cookie sales in 2026. Quoting USA Today. A new cookie is joining the Girl Scout family and coming to Missouri troops. Explore-Mores, a Rocky Road ice cream-inspired sandwich cookie, will round out the lineup for the 2026 Girl Scout cookie season. Girl Scouts of the USA will also be working closely with Adobe, which will serve as a national sponsor of the 2026 Girl Scout cookie program. The Rocky Road ice cream-inspired sandwich cookie is filled with delicious flavors of chocolate, marshmallow, and toasted almond-flavored cream. Proceeds from each box of Girl Scout cookies sold, including Explore-Mores, stay with local troops and councils to fund life-changing programs, experiences, and learnings throughout the year. End quote. I gather they're also retiring a couple of cookie flavors, but really it's the new one that seems the more exciting bit of news to report on here. And finally, closing out with some news from Saudi Arabia, and also a personal request from me. If anybody, and I mean anybody listening, has any contacts within the Saudi Arabian Scouting Association, send an email to scoutingstuffpodcast@gmail.com, because I would really, really like to get in touch with them. I will have an opportunity to visit the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia a little bit later on, and it would be cool to carry out my usual tradition of visiting with local scout groups in the area that I'll be going to. So if you have any contacts within the Saudi Arabian Scouting Organization, please connect us. Like, send them an email, send me an email, scoutingstuffpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to get in touch. But back to the news. Scouts have gathered in Saudi Arabia for a Messengers of Peace youth leadership event. 60 scouts from across Saudi Arabia and around the world came together this week in Riyadh for 3 days of training and workshops on youth leadership, peace, education, and innovation. The gathering marked a new chapter for the global Messengers of Peace initiative, which was renewed earlier this year to empower young people to respond to today's challenges and take action in their communities. Participants were joined by the Messengers of Peace awardees and key partners who took part in workshops, panel discussions, and intergenerational dialogues held from the 14th to 16th of September. Sessions explored themes such as strengthening youth leadership, harnessing technology for peace, and building networks to foster collaboration across cultures, and generations. End quote. And that is all the news I have for you this week. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, be prepared.